Hits and Crits. This video is brought to you by Asmodee.
Hello and welcome to the Office Hour, officially now together. I will introduce the Free Folk, and with me there is Kiste, going
I
through the
will,
changes.
on
Going
the
through the changes.
Greyjoys.
Yes. So, Kiste, what was your first impression on the patch overall before we go into details with Free Folk and Greyjoys after all?
Yeah, I think it was interesting to have the changes in the app before the changelog. So I was searching through the app a lot and always finding little things that was kind of funny and exciting. But yeah, after all, I don't have a definitive opinion on the patch right now because I will have to test a few things first. I think Greyjoys got off really well, I have to say, and there are a lot of options now for them with because they have a lot of strong attachments, and yeah, so I think for Greyjoys it will be a good patch.
Yeah, I think
And what
Free
was
Folk.
yours on Free Folk?
Yeah, I think Free Folk and Greyjoys have some little things in common, as we both field typically a lot of infantry,
Yeah,
except for some special lists for Free Folk. I mean, Greyjoys only have infantry units, so
yeah,
that comes pretty naturally that they profit a lot from these changes, especially for 3 points for attachments. And I think we
yeah.
both can use them pretty well. So we will just start with some changes on the Free Folk, and then we go through the main course that takes this patch to Free Folk players, and where they decide to go which route, especially in the new list building options they got. We will do some examples of new lists that would be possible, and yeah, then we have a little guest commentator on it, um, as we will ask Mickey, aka Mazareth, one of the, if not the best Free Folk player in the world, what he thinks about the patch. And yeah, that will be it. And then we go to you, of course, with the Greyjoys. And yeah, I play both factions, so I'm pretty excited to have you with me and go through the changes of the Greyjoys too.
I'm also quite interested in Free Folk, and I look forward to hear your opinion.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just directly dive into the changes, as we have the Chosen of Stir as one of the changes in the attachments. He now offers a Furious Charge, which gives out Vulnerable, and the ability he had before, the Go Down Fighting, which is quite underestimated in my opinion, because there are a lot of free folk units that go down, but if they go down fighting, they're able to inflict some serious wounds, and that can be the difference between a dead dragon, for example, or a dead solo unit, um, or not. And the Furious Charge, especially for 1 point, is pretty good in my opinion. I always hear Larks in my left ear when I talk about the Chosen of Stir, because he was one of the few players that included the Chosen of Stir before this, in my opinion, buff that they got now. What do you think? What do you think about this unit now?
I have to say I underestimated Go Down Fighting a lot till I played it on my Drowned Prophet, which now lost it. Spoiler. And I think it's a really good ability, especially if you have some heal, like, well, Greyjoys would have, but also you could get up a rank with some free folk abilities to have this trigger a lot more than just three times.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
especially
I-
it's an out of activation damage type
yeah,
of thing. So
and it's a straight wound, so yeah.
yeah, so I think this is a pretty good change for them. I think we will see them quite often, but they have a lot of well, a lot of potential, but there are also a lot of attachments that you want to include with the free folk anyway, so they will have a hard time being the choice for the free folk players.
Yeah, strong
Yeah,
competition everywhere.
yeah, a lot of competition now. Yeah, absolutely true. So Rattle Shirt attachment, still 2 points, but he still offers the opportunity to pick up the Bone Lord's Chosen. So that is quite achievable now. Before it was an 8-point unit you had to include, and that pretty much rattled your list around a little bit. And now you've got 3 points, which can include Rattle Shirt and the Bone Lord's Chosen for 6 points. And he offers Fueled by Slaughter and Intimidating Presence, which absolutely synergize with the Bone Lord's Chosen abilities to prey on fear, horrific visage, and just heal a lot. What's your opinion on Rattleshirt here?
I think Fueled by Slaughter is a really strong ability. And yeah, also Intimidating Presence, both strong abilities for 2 points. I think 2-point attachment had a really hard time before, but after this patch, I think you will see them more often because why not?
Yeah.
It's those 4 points anyway. So maybe in a list where you don't have as much infantry, so you don't have that much attachment slots, might be good to spend a whole lot of points in less places.
Yeah. And Rattleshirt got a lot of other changes too, especially as commander. And now he has not only the Trophy Hunter order, which is when a friendly combat unit activates, you can use this order to search a tactic stack or discard pile for one of Rattleshirt's commander tactic card and add it to your hand, which is a really powerful ability now when you look at the tactic cards itself, which we will do in a second. And he still got the Trophy Collector, but now it is a little bit of a change in the ability because this unit, so Rattleshirt's unit, which he is in, probably most of the time the Bone Lord's Chosen anyway, that unit counts as having all Commander Tactics cards attached to a friendly unit or a friendly units within short range as also attached to them. So everything you give out to other units, the Rattleshirt unit also gets as long as they're in short range of the tactics cards that buff the unit themselves. So it is armor trophies give +1s to defense die, and they've got an additional ability now where you can't spend vulnerable, so there's a lot of damage that goes nowhere when you attach that to it. You've got the bloody trophies and you've got the weapon trophies. So bloody trophies give out panic before the opponent does his action, and weapon trophies deal give you +1 to hit on each of your attack dice. So we will take a look at them in a second. And we've got Intimidating Presence, as usual, with Rattleshirt, a pretty much staple to the card ability. And now we take a closer look to those trophies, because now you can see what changed and why it is such an important order on Rattleshirt which you gain. Because not only did the cards change and overall got better in their abilities, but also the trigger changed by quite a lot. Because before it was after you destroy a whole rank, you can attach one of these trophy cards. But now it is after a friendly unit completes a melee attack if the defender suffered any wounds. So one wound is still enough to get those trophies out. And now we come to the chain reaction that now Rattleshirt can provoke, which is once per turn. That is important for me. When I first read it, it was like once per
Whoa.
round. No, it is once
Huh?
per turn. After attaching a Rattleshirt's Commander Tactics card, you may also play one Rattleshirt's Commander Tactics card from your hand, ignoring its usual trigger. So, what do you think of that chain reaction that is possible with
Whoa.
Rattleshirt here?
Yeah, I think that's quite cool. You can just get through your deck really fast. Also with his ability to get those cards, then you can, yeah, stack them and will have your units buffed in pretty short time, I think. That sounds really good.
Yeah, my first opinion was, oh, maybe I have to play Mans NCU with him just to
Yeah.
draw the cards over and over again and just play them and chain them together with the order. So yeah, that is quite nice. And what what I didn't think in the first place was you can also coordination tactics as orders, right? So you can just
Oh.
coordination tactics it, and then you can search discard. You can search your tactics deck.
Yeah.
You can search 2 times if you have coordination tactics. So coordination tactics is like another
Yeah.
combat card, another commander card you can get from your deck or the discard pile, and you can just chain it together. And I had a game where I had in turn 2 like 4 commander cards attached, and I started with one
Nice.
or something like that. So yeah, pretty insane. Um, and the cards overall got better because, especially the armor trophies, when you get +1 to defense dice
Yeah.
rolls, and your opponent cannot
Yeah.
expand vulnerable on this unit, that is insane for Free Folk.
Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah, you've got a lot of units that don't have a lot of armor. And when you can suddenly
Yeah.
play a card that disables vulnerable, plus you get +1 to defense dice
Yeah.
rolls. They're good on Then Warriors. They are especially good on Bear Cavalry. I mean, who doesn't want to play them?
Yeah, so Fan Warriors get really tanky suddenly a 3+ and no vulnerable. What the fuck? You can and
Yeah,
that's in free
and the
folk.
taunt ability.
and then they also get the other card with +1 to hit, so they get offensively. Yeah, I think that sounds really strong to me.
Yeah. Yeah, armor trophies, especially on Thens. I mean, you've got the Then
Yeah.
Warriors, you maybe have one attachment, which we will
Yeah.
talk about later. And then they've got 3+ plus a taunt. So you can
Yeah.
decide, do you want to get weakened and panicked, or do you want to charge them with
Yeah.
the 3+, and they
Yeah.
have got hold the line. So they probably
And no
won't lose the rank.
vulnerable, which I think is huge.
Yeah.
No expand no vulnerable. You don't have this a lot, I think, in the game. I think Night's Watch has it, and it was a game changer in a few games I had against them. And you go in with like Victorian and or stack all your cards, and then but you can't use the vulnerable. Then he rolls good, and nothing happens.
Yeah. And you probably won't
Can
lose
be
the
really
rank.
strong.
So there's a high chance you won't lose the rank, and there
Yeah.
it is, hold the line. And with Crusher, maybe you lose a rank, but you can fill it up pretty quickly. And you've got hold the line, and hold the line, in my opinion, is one of the best abilities now, with the patch being a low damage patch. So assault orders got worse, so a lot of damage went out of the game, and free hits are just incredibly good. So yeah, armor trophies, Rattle Shirt, absolutely amazing. For me, one of the best changes for Free Folk overall, because I finally can now field Rattleshirt and don't feel like I'm missing out on something. Because killing a rank against Baratheons or something with Rattleshirt was so hard. It was
Yeah,
so hard.
or cavalry or dragons. Like, I mean, I as a Greyjoy player can totally relate. not getting off ranks on those kind of things, like you just said, it sucks. You just
It,
get no
it was,
pillage, or in this case, you don't get your cards. Yeah.
yeah. And what I just simply love this unit is the Cave Dweller Savages together with the Walrus attachment. Because the less wounds they have, the better they get and the more damage they deal. And you've got the trigger, attach this card to one friendly infantry or cavalry unit in short range of the attacker. So it doesn't even target the attacker itself. No, you can just go in with the Cave Dweller Savages, just go completely nuts with the Walrus, and attach the card to another unit. Probably the Bears, probably the Thens, and Rattleshirt profits of it at the same time. So you don't only have the chain reaction, like I play the card, I play another card, I search for the card, I coordination tactics, search for another card, and I chain the card, but it also virtually copies itself to Rattleshirt's unit. So you don't get one card, you get two cards. And you chain another card, and it also copies to the Rattleshirt card. So we've got 4 tactics cards with 2. It's insane.
Yeah. And with only one trigger.
Yeah, with 1 wound. With 1 wound.
Yeah, true. One wound, and then you go like, okay, now I have 4 buffs.
Yeah, it's absolutely
not
amazing.
bad.
So Rattleshirt, my new favorite currently. I'm super hyped to test them out. With 1 Than Warriors, with 2 Than Warriors, it's amazing. And with the Cave Dweller Savages, just awesome. Yeah. I really like the new change. It's like a little domino effect with bones.
Yeah.
It's like clack, clack, clack.
You know, it just now I'd like to buy some Free Folk, maybe.
Yeah.
No, too many projects.
I mean, some people don't like the sculpt of Rattleshirt because it just stands there like nothing's even happening. It's a little bit less dynamic like the others, but for me it is like the dude just doesn't care at all. So I like the mini. So
I mean, the shirt out of bones must be heavy too, so he can't move that much.
Yeah, exactly. With armor 3+, totally logical.
Yeah.
Okay, before I get too much into dreaming about my little Rattleshirt, we come to another panic-based unit or attachment in this case. It's the Weeper. The Weeper got the Grizzly example, which is now at the start of a turn, this unit suffers 1 hit. It's not a wound, it's a hit now. And you target all enemies in short range and they become panicked. And he also offers the Vicious. So for 1 point, you get a hit and
Pretty
everything in short range becomes panic. Well, not a wound is always a chance to hold it, yeah?
Yeah. It's like Theon, but a little weaker, but not as much as it was a wound before, right?
Yeah, it was wound.
Yeah, so now you even have the chance to. I mean, even for a wound, I've found it to be a good attachment, but now it's slight little buff, but not a bad one.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think the Reaper in a panic-based list will absolutely have its place, especially in a Rattleshirt list.
Yeah.
On a panic base, that's pretty nice. Yeah. So and I really hope to buff up some Bear Riders because in the game I told you just a couple of minutes ago, I had all cards of Rattleshirt attached to my Bear Riders in turn 2. So that was insane.
Nice. Yeah.
That was the dream.
Yeah.
Okay, we come to another little change. We've got the Weeper as commander also. So also there's the Grizzly example change. Just one hit. We still got the Vicious. We still got the Weaken Resolve. Each time an enemy engaged with this unit fails a panic test, that enemy becomes weakened. But we've got another change in the tactic cards. So let's have a look at them. Because now we've got the Bloody Beheadings. After a friendly unit completes a melee attack. So trigger, super easy. Super easy after a friendly unit completes a melee attack. You don't even have to deal wounds. It's just an attack. Doesn't even have to activate. If this attack destroyed an enemy rank, now we've got the little harder to get goal. Each enemy in long range becomes panicked, and if they were already panicked, they suffer one panic test. So if this attack destroyed the enemy instead, each enemy in long range becomes panicked and suffers the panic test. I only heard rumors about it, but the theme of panicking and chain reaction into something more is also fulfilled here in the bloody beheadings, because it spreads so many conditions, and it can spread a lot of panic tests. When you see this at the opponent's side, what do you think about it?
Long range is pretty strong, I think. Quite even if you later in the game, if you destroy a rank or even destroy a unit, it's almost all of the time, most units will be in long range, so you will hit most games the whole remaining army of the enemy with this. So pretty strong.
Yeah, and you still have got the Grizzly example, right? So you get a hit, and everything in short range becomes panicked anyway, and then you can play that, and then you can add another layer on it.
Yeah, so you can stack it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Start
and
of
you
turn,
can add
you can do
another layer on it.
the order and then stack it with this. Yeah.
And you can add another layer on it with "There are too many," so they also get minus
True.
on the moral tests, on the panic tests. So yeah, it can chain react pretty well. Okay, so yeah, pretty hyped. I didn't have the time to try the Weeper out him myself because I was so obsessed with Rattle Shirt and new steer lists and new mag lists, because we have to get to them also. But before we come to them, there's another change that is quite well, it divides the free-for community a little bit, because some say the Walrus Clan Chieftain now for only 1 point is a pretty good change, as he also offers Iron Resolve, but he lost his ability in the order of Resilience, and instead he got Hardened. So it costs only half as much, but it also offers just a little bit of resilience, as the Order Resilience offered a lot more protection for the unit they were in, and especially with Raider units, plus the attachment points, it would have been pretty achievable to get the Walrus Clan Chieftain in a unit anyway.
Yeah. I think you would have seen him a lot if he still had resilience. He would have. There would be lists. Not every player would do it, but there would be lists where almost any unit has resilience, and that can suck pretty hard if you don't have anything that takes abilities or something like that. Then auto wounds, but. Or like they did on the Drowned Prophet, limited. They could have limited the how many you could take of them. That would have been another idea.
Yeah, I mean the comparison lies pretty near or close to the Drowned Prophet now, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
So we will talk about him a little
maybe
bit
they
later.
wanted to try both ways and see what's better.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean he's virtually for free for the Raiders, and Iron Resolve can be equalized a little bit with the Iron Resolve, but it still is a weaker effect. So yeah, some were pretty sad to see the Walrus Clan Chieftain go and changed in the way it was. Yeah,
That
I will
is
miss him.
understandable.
Yeah, I will miss him. Okay, so we've got another change in for the units, as we've got the War Mammoth. It is a War Mammoth on the back of the side of the card. It is just a mammoth on the front side, so I don't know why. But the Mammoth didn't change as much. Still 6 move, 4+ to hit, with 7 dice, 3+ on the defense and 6 moral, but it now has, with the critical blow and Sunring, and the opponent becoming panicked, it still has a new ability. When charging, this unit may reroll any charge distance dice. And it got a limitation of 2. I am still undecided, so I would like your opinion on the War Mammoth. Is the reroll of any charge distance dice, is it a good change, or is it still a little bit wanky where you don't know if it is really reliable or not? What do you think?
For me, I've been playing around with the elephant lately, so I can say more than I could have before. But yeah, I think that the reroll is nice. But for me personally, I would still maybe only try like a 2 or 3 up. Like before, I mostly only go for safe charges because, you know, if you need a 2, it's almost always the 1. But with a reroll, I would try this. That would, but it's not that big of an impact, I think.
Mm.
It might be when you have situations like, okay, I try this 4+, maybe even 5+ charge, just I don't have a negative effect if I lose it, so I can just try it, then it might really be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for me the problem is it still doesn't have a cavalry move, so every cavalry with move 5 is at least equal in the charge distance. It is better in movability, maneuverability. I mean, you still got Lady Val, so you could argue that it is possible to get into the position, especially with move 6. But having 6 auto 6 charges in the game as a card, as an ability, makes it a lot worse, in my opinion. I think it is still quite a nice change. It is still usable in any shape, kind of form, but you've got more reliable abilities that just guarantee you the 6. And yeah, so to hope that the Mammoth rolls a 4 or 5, even with rerolls,
Yeah.
is quite risky, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
don't feel safe with it. There may be other players that say just go for it and go in. Yeah, but for me, everything that you don't
Yeah.
have to roll is a good thing, in my opinion, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Like I said, maybe a 3, but yeah, 2 definitely, maybe a 3, but everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and we got a question from Larks.
Oh,
Do you consider the +1 attack die a relevant change to the Mammoth or not? And follow up, what would you think would be needed to make them a go-to unit? Ooh, good questions. um,
I think
I've,
the +1 dice is not as relevant as I would love to see. But it is a good thing for the initial charge, because there you get the rerolls, so you can have more hits, and it is more impactful than on other units, as you've got the 2 keywords critical blow and sunring, so every dice is a potential
yeah,
there's a potential 2 hit with -1 on armor, so that is pretty nice. But I think the Mammoth would need some. I mean, it only has 8 wounds, so it is pretty much just for fighting because it can't control any objectives. I would love to see something happening when they reach a unit like an auto wound or D3 wounds. They initially just get on the impact because that's their
Yeah.
only objective. They can't hold objectives,
Yeah.
they can't score points. They're just there to go in, and when they die, they will deal another D3 wound. So when they do their initial impact, that would be nice to gain some more wounds on the initial impact on them. And I think then I would consider playing them because with rerolls, initial impact, that is a lot of damage, and then it is quite fine to have them at 4+ when they're engaged, because then the hits are about 3 to 4 against an armor 4+. It is like 1 or 2 hits that get through, so that is pretty much on the weak side. But having a just go in unit like the War Mammoth and do initial damage and then damage when they die, that would be nice. I don't think they need the cavalry move because that would be also a pretty cheap solution. Yeah, that would be my take on it. What do you think, Kiste?
I think that's pretty nice, and also it feels right. Like the elephant gets plus dice for charging, something like this. Maybe, but I think the cavalry move would also be another direction to make it more viable. If you, I don't know, someone from our club, I think we were talking about the elephant, and he said, yeah, maybe just make him move like 4, but with a cavalry movement. Make him a bit more maneuverable, but therefore slower. So because with this large bases, I don't have a lot of experience with those, and played the elephant a few times now, and I had a really hard time positioning it because it has a really the long base is just I was standing in my own way a lot of times because I was beside my own unit and I couldn't move. Like the elephant had a too big as to get around the unit. Like, I mean, it's realistically, but
Yeah,
felt a
yeah.
bit bad. That would be another take. Maybe make it. I think it's a really cool way to get him to do more initial damage, or maybe make him a bit. I think those are two paths to make it more viable. I think, yeah, because even if it has a free up armor, those 8 wounds they are gone really fast in my experience. So it should either hit harder or be a little more easy to get where you want it. So slight tweaks here or there might be the thing to go.
Yeah, I think Lux nailed the point with the synergy on the vulnerable token, which it can dish out probably instead of the panicked. That would be
Wishes,
quite
like Rusty said, wishes.
Wishes would be absolutely amazing also, yeah.
Like on the elephant, I think it's just thematic and yeah.
Yeah, it would be cool to see the Weeper and the Rattle Shirt together with the Mammoth, and then they go just bonkers with all panic and
then you can even dish out the cards when the Mammoth does wounds. You can dish out the cards to the infantry. Rattle Shirt's cards.
Exactly. Like picking up the bones after the Mammoth charged in. That would be absolutely hilarious. I would love to see that. Right?
Pick up some roadkill.
Yeah, exactly. Just picking up the things that the Mammoth left behind. Okay, so we come to another tactics card change now, which I quite like. It is the Walrus Strength, and I think the Walrus was one of the lesser played commanders, which I quite liked a lot, and I think the changes on the Walrus were pretty decent, especially on the Walrus Strength, because it now gives another opportunity to heal your units. The only downside and the little tear that rolls down my little free folk cheek is that I cannot play the Walrus as attachment in my beloved Cave Dweller Savages when I pick him as a commander. So that's always a hard deal to get. The Walrus strength offers the following. Start of a friendly turn, so again, pretty easy trigger. Target one friendly infantry or cavalry unit. Attach this card to the unit until the end of the game. While attached, when this unit activates, restore one wound. And if it is in short range of the Great Walrus, it may also remove one condition token. Oh my god. Free Folk got a tactics card that stays at the unit and removes a condition. We live in a wondrous miracle world. What do you think about that? Free Folk getting anti-condition.
Yeah, I think, and removing condition tokens is always strong and really something some houses struggle with. And yeah, I felt it when Asha got this. The influence got the remove a condition token added, I think. I think it wasn't there in the beginning, or maybe I didn't play her, but when I started using her, I really felt the change. It's like you don't have to live with all those conditions the enemy dishes out, and you can just get rid of some. That's really strong, I think. It's always good to have.
Yeah, anti-condition is just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I love it. I mean, it
And
still states infantry or cavalry, so you cannot just put in Mag the Mighty and just don't care about if he's weakened or not. But still, it is quite an upside. Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
now even
Lux
Free
just said
Folk
it.
has a. Huh? Ah, yeah. But now even Free Folk has attachable cards that don't go away with panic tests.
Yeah, more
Well,
attachments.
Night's Watch, not so much.
Yeah.
I think that's always a little bit interesting choice.
Yeah.
Everyone else gets like strong attachable cards that don't go away, and Night's Watch always loses everything.
I mean, the main difference is you've got more triggers for the
Yeah,
Night's Watch cards. So yeah, they're a little bit more conditional, but they
yeah,
offer more in the variety of things they do, right?
yeah.
And now we come to the big change, to the biggest change, maybe the biggest of them all, because it is Mag the Mighty, Chieftain of the Giants. So it is the biggest one in Free Folk, in the case of Free Folk. You still get Mag the Mighty for 5, so there is already a discount of 4 points on Mag, because he costs 9 when you pick him out of the list as him or as a commander. And when you include Mag the Mighty as your commander, replace the Free Folk Tactics deck with Mag stack, so that's still the same, still fine. But you now, as we all know, you now have got 4 free attachment points. And everybody was wondering, well, what does Mag do now? Well, I tell you what he does. He just gets cheaper. If you select Mag the Mighty as your commander, if you do, his points cost becomes 5 instead of the usual 9. Plus, for each additional unspent extra attachment point, reduce Mag's point cost by 1. So in the end, Mag just costs 1 as a commander, and that enables so much more on giant lists. This is incredible. What do you think about this change?
It's good that they didn't just. It would have been easy to have the pure giant monster lists get caught in the way of this patch, I think, and just be smashed. Like, basically, if you can't take don't take infantry, you are at a disadvantage here now. Like with dragons, I would say here with the giants, but this like balances it out, and Yeah, but what I see, what my thought now was that it disencourages using any attachments when you play him, because
Yeah.
why would you would pay like you would start to pay points again for them because you don't get him cheaper. So yeah,
I mean,
it's thematic because you want to play him in a monster and giant list, but you can't, or it's not as optimized to mix and match anymore.
to be fair, if you've decided to go the giant route, you already decided your way to go anyway. So who cares about attachments? If you go giants, you go bonkers giants. You just put everything giant in it, and you decided to play giants. You did not decide to play freeform. You decided to play giants and giants only. Maybe, as Chris said in the video with Meserath, with Mickey, maybe you just want to see giant miniatures on the table with mammoths, with giants, 3 NCUs just go completely nuts on it. And I already heard about some pretty, well, I would say experimental lists with Mag, with 3 spear throwers, and with Varamir, plus the NCUs. Okay. So that can be quite tricky. And to get another impression on the changes that this patch offered, this Season 6 patch offered us, and whirled around the list building concepts in a lot of ways, we've got one of the best freefolk players in the world, highly ranked, with us, and we just got Mickey here, so aka Meserath. So yeah, let's all welcome Mickey and have his thoughts on this Season 6 changes and what he does only think about it, and what lists maybe he's got in mind he wants to try out. And I hope he agrees with me with a rattle domino effect, right? Volatile reactions. So first of all, hey Mickey, nice to have you here. We don't hear you currently, Mickey. Maybe there is another issue.
You hear me now?
Yes, now it's absolutely fine. We hear your lovely voice.
And it reset to the wrong microphone. Yes, nice to see you, Nick. Nice to spend time with you. And I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation here. Is it Keist? Is that how you pronounce it?
No, Kiste.
Kiste.
But you can say Max too, so it's...
I'll use a, I'll try and get it right. So I'm really excited about the idea of the bouncing panic thing. I think I'm going to kind of burst the bubble immediately, and not to be negative, but I don't think Free Folk's the faction to do it. They don't have they lost Spread by Fear on Rattleshirt in favor of, in my opinion, a better ability in that he now has Fueled by Slaughter, which is one of my absolute favorite abilities in the entire game. And I think that Fueled by Slaughter being on more things is a way of pushing more melee combats. So I think Simon moving in that direction, I think is what we want. We want a little bit less shooting. So I think that more melee and more Fueled by Slaughter is a good thing, but it does mean that the bouncing panics is not as achievable in Free Folk because there isn't those Spread by Fears that you can combo off, which is a big shame. But yeah, I'll without going into too much detail, I will definitely be trying that in Boltons, and I think it's going to be hilarious memes when it works. So yeah.
How was your game? Well, all of my miniatures just ran away.
I have images of someone playing Bolton versus like Free Folk or Bolton when they haven't gone like morale based, and you'll run into something. You'll run into something with Intimidate, like Roos will charge somebody, and then you'll go, "Cool, I destroyed that unit with Roos," and now bloody beheadings and the entire army disappears. So, which thematic, we can argue balance another day, but thematically that's amazing. Yeah, I think so. Free Folk. I wanted to jump on what you said about the mammoths, and I think I agree with everything you said about mammoths. The actual thing that I wanted to remind people about the mammoths is Mag already has a card that allows charge rerolls, And so it feels like you're just doubling down on stuff that was already on offer. And yeah, redundancy's nice. But yeah, I'm a bit sat with you guys. I'm not interested to pick up mammoths, unfortunately, anytime soon. And it's the I mean, I can't complain too much. 1.6 mammoths were nutty, and I've still got a really nice painted mammoth in that box down there, which I'd love to get back on the table. So but yeah, I've been thinking about some lists, thinking about some stuff. I think I'm going to say something crazy. Mag the Mighty, right? He's 5 points. You lose a point, as you say, for every attachment missing. I actually think you don't want Mag the Mighty to be 1 point, and everyone's like, "What?"
I'm also like that.
Don't play 1 point Mag the Mighty. I think you want to play 2 point Mag the Mighty, which sounds mental,
And
but hear me out. You want you're picking up for that, so it's really important for people to know why you're doing this. You're picking up Baroque in Raiders, which gives you access to the boar, which is another monster for things like Monsters of the North. A lot of other triggers that interact with Mag's deck. Also, Mag at 2 points means that Mag can control a zone on his own, and here we stand. Which is quite important. And it also just gives you a little bit of chip damage, which Giants quite like, in the form of hidden traps if you need it, or to obviously lower those charge distance downs. I actually really do think that's quite important. So yeah, don't run 1 point mag, run 2 point mags. That being said, the rest of the list you can kind of fill in and make your own. You can afford to run like Dalla if you really want to run Dalla in the list to give out weakens at long range. You can probably afford to run Mance 5, and obviously Lady Val makes the list because you should never not run Val. And you can go pretty full out. So I've got in my version of the list, it's Mag 1/1 Giant Spear Thrower. Yes, 1/1 hits the table. Yeah.
Okay,
you can drop
why not a
1/1.
Savage
You know
Giant?
what? You can drop 1/1 and just take a normal Savage Giant if you want.
Yeah.
But then you've got 1 Giant Spear Thrower, which again could be a normal giant. You know, these are 3 giants with Mag. Then you've got Varamir and the Wolf Pack, really good for switching off the abilities. And then you've got Baroque with his boar, and then you've got your 3 NCUs. Again, you can drop 5 point Mance down to a 4-pointer, and if you do that, you actually free up overall, dropping 1/1 down to a normal giant, 2 points for the cat as well. So you can run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10 activation mag list if you want to do that way, where mag is 2 points rather than 1. And it also gives you 7 monsters to play with, 3 giants and 4 Greeblies, as you'd call them, the cat, Baroque, Baramir, and the wolf pack. So I can imagine something like that being an absolute nightmare for the likes of Greyjoys or other people to face. I'm sorry if I've given anyone who's watching this for Greyjoys, they've probably got a little bit PTSD already.
Where are my pillages?
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
How do I kill anything?
So you've got the Lady NCU package, like Lady Val, Lady Dalla, Ygritte.
All the women, yep.
Yeah, for more mobility overall and some weekend maybe here and there.
If you really
don't
want,
play it against Starks, by the way, because they will never be weakened, I guess.
Yeah. But this is it. So you could even joke a little bit around with it, but like you've got 1 infantry unit. Is Craster a terrible decision? Probably not. Is Jon Snow to take away to again push that unit to a morale 4, -1 move? Is that a terrible decision? Oh, sorry, -1 wound counteracting the base 3 for extra 1. Probably not. There's a little bit of direction you can go there. I think the only real like NCU you just simply don't pick up in this list is you just never approach Steer. Unfortunately, I think Steer is probably going to be on the sidelines for this patch. I don't see how the NCU makes most of your list considerations. That being said, I've just made a list where I was considering him, so maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it always sounds a little bit cool to have like +1 die and get the ability of Steer, but Free is so much more about mobility, maneuverability, and get into a good position than instead of just hammering down on each other. So yeah, it's just pretty much on the side for me too. I would love to see a change on his NCU side because I think he's still a pretty good commander, right? He's absolutely stable and pretty nice after all. Yeah. So thanks for the insight on this list and thanks for the first insight on the patch overall. What do you think about the new Rattle shirt? Because that was the biggest change, right? He was changed as a commander. He's got his abilities changed and he's got his cards changed. And it just, as I said, it chain reacts into a huge pile of tactics cards coming onto the table at the same time and virtually copying to his unit as well. Do you think he's now a commander that you could probably try out? He's like absolutely in the case of. Well, I should start the sentence all over again because I just went completely wild. Is he viable? So, just to make it short, is he viable now in the meta, or doesn't he matter at all?
So I think there's two discussions. I think there's one, is there something viable in the meta? We are in a position where there isn't one. There isn't anything established. We don't really know what is going to be actually good. We've got thoughts. I think initially people are looking at Greyjoys and Targs thinking they look pretty stacked. There's discussions over Lightbringers and Baratheons being a pretty good option still. It's very hard to say will something be good when you don't know what environment it's stepping into. That being said, am I going to try it? Of course I am. I've quite literally played everything and I will continue to play everything. I will play Rattleshirt, I will test him out, and I've already got a list for him that I sat down on in a pub in Stockport while I was at the Invitational, while drinking alcohol, so it might be an awful list actually. But I put together, and as Chris says in chat, Rattleshirt for president. I can guarantee you he will be on the table running for president, and you never know. You never know. People voted for questionable things in the US before, so why not Rattleshirt?
So I mentioned the game I had before. It was against Tarks, so it was not an easy matchup, right? And I had the Bonelets chosen, of course, with Rattleshirt, of course. I've got the Fire and Forget Cave Dweller Savages with a Great Walrus because I need a unit that is disposable and can offer me some damage to put down the cards. And then as a second wave, it was just an experimental list, so don't take this too seriously. I've got 10 warriors with Borok because pretty nice moral 4 Then warriors is absolutely nice, and especially with 3+ on the defense saves. I also included the Free Folk Raiders with Torment. I just had to put some more points into the attachment category, and another Stalwart unit with a pretty solid 5+ morale, and the Warcry was pretty well synergizing with the Frozen Shore Bear Riders, right? I mean, we all want to play them. We all want them to be good. We all want to put those little bears on the table and have them throwing spears and mauling the opponent. And as I said, turn 2, all attachment cards from Rattleshirt on the Frozen Shore Bear Riders, and they packed a punch. And then I also had Lady Val, Shasta, and Jon Snow, because I think Jon Snow offers, as you said, such a great variety of abilities. You get the Northern Resilience, as you mentioned before, with a +1 to morale and -1 wound. So you suddenly have Raiders on 4+, which makes the Warcry pretty reliable. And you've got the Southern Discipline, Then Warriors. If they got a huge hit, you can always fill them up with the Raiders, and you can regroup and reform them, or you can use coordination tactics with the Order of Rattleshirt and just search your tactics deck or your discard pile for another card. So it was just a machine that when it got into rolling, it just never stopped. You just put down cards. I even equipped the Cave Dweller Savages because I knew I could just pick the card back up when the Cave Dweller Savages were eliminated from the game. So yeah, I really like the Rattleshirt change, and I think he will see some more play with not as experimental lists as I just showed up here. So yeah, what are you frantic about to try out and see what happens?
I personally, I think the Tormund inclusion is nice, but it's not something I really want to go back to. Warcry is fine. It's not that great unless you're comboing it with something else, and I think that unfortunately it's just not that useful on its own. So it's not something I would do, but that's not to say that it's wrong. It isn't. It's just not where I'm looking straight away. For me, Rattleshirt Bonner's chosen. Yep. Walrus Cave Dweller Savages. Yep. Bring my babies back. So we've got Harmer's Bannerman and Spearwife Matriarch in the Spearwives for the absolute old 2021 combo, going back 4.5, 5 years for that lovely beast to make it back into the list. And also one of my other favorite things that I just love including, but again, I'm willing to change where the attachments sit in this, which is Then Warrior's Harmer. You know, you really want to propel these hold the line things into melees, and Harmer allows you to propel it into melee, so you can activate in melee, hold the line, boom, get some kills. That being said, I then finished the list off with Raiders Baroque, rather than going down the original thought process I had, because you have 5 points left in the list, and you've used all of your attachment points already. Right, you're actually now leaking into a 38-6 kind of thing, and I end up going down the route of Baroque Raiders for the boar. Gives you a bit of a something else to break open the kind of early engagements. But I was really tempted by Frozen Shore Hunters, moving Harmer to the Frozen Shore Hunters, and having a new Walrus Clan Chieftain in the Thens. Again, pushing the idea of I'm going to taunt you, and when you inevitably charge, I'm going to maneuver the Walrus. I'm going to maneuver the Frozen Shore Hunters into a flank or into a short range shot, which I can then hammer you with. That also will then weaken you. And I don't mind taking morale check on my Thens because I've got Iron Resolve on them, and I'm also putting Jon Snow thingy on them, so they're now morale 4 with -2 wounds. I don't give a who cares if I take a panic test? I'm probably not taking any wounds anyway. So yeah, all of that being said, and also the only problem with that combo is I didn't feel as though it had quite the legs I wanted it to have. But one of the things we haven't mentioned is this is an 8 activation Rattleshirt list, not a 9, not a 10. It's a nice solid 8. You've got no cavalry, you've still got Val, you've got Jon Snow, but what you do pack is you pack Mance 5 in one of the attached NCU slots, and I think Mance 5 is almost going to be required in some regards for shutting down, they're still shutting down those Assault Horde commanders that you really want to make sure just don't have a good time. And just capturing units out that are, I think we're going to see a lot more kind of like early activation in the round stuff a little bit more. And as a result, you're able to just kind of catch your opponent and say, look, you charged, and now I stop you being activated by, affected by zones. And now you're just stuck, engaged in this melee. And that's where Rattleshirt wants your first unit, because Rattleshirt can then start going, well, nom 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 nom, I will eat your unit, and the whole time I'm eating your unit, I'm putting out 1,000,001 different cards, getting the buffs going, and then you kill the first unit, and by that point all your units are Batman and Robin and running around like headless chickens eating people, because that's what Rattleshirt does. Remember, he eats people. So yeah,
and he's healing a lot, right?
It's insane.
Slaughter and Prey on Fear. Jesus, this guy healed so much, and with Cruster, in addition, I healed like 16, 20 wounds without any problem, because every attack was such a big heal and with intimidating presence. There was a -1 from the environmental thingies. Then they've got vicious anyway, vicious weapons. Plus there are too many. So I had panic tests like on at least -5, and most of the time it was like -7 or something like that. So -7, even for a 4 morale unit, that is still an 11, and that is quite hard to beat, especially when you're panicked anyway because of the trophies, right? We remember.
Yep.
And horrific visage, -3 anyway, -4 intimidating presence, plus the corpse pie -5, so -5 on average. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And
so yeah, I like
and,
I
I
like
mean-
the changes a lot.
let's put it like this: even if you have all the morale in the world, you can still roll a double 1. So
Yeah.
you know,
The change, yeah, the change that changed everything with panic tests and the dragons. Double 1s, still a fail.
yeah, I think
Okay,
I'm secretly excited. I am genuinely secretly excited. I say secretly; it's not that secret. I've got a big grin on my face. I am actually quite excited. I have been building some stuff. At the moment, I'm not burdened by the sadness that is running into a formed up meta where I think everything's really good and I don't know what the solutions are. So right now, I'm quite happy. I think that Free Folk have got some interesting stuff they can try and do. And one of the things I've actually already come to the conclusion of, though, is I open up the attachment list on War Council, and I see a list of attachments, and I want there to be like double the number of attachments in the game with different combos that I can be looking at, different kind of thought processes and thinking patterns. So, you know, I just want more.
Yeah,
Always more.
There's one very interesting question from Thantalus in the chat. He asked, regarding Mans the attachment, can I use the free attachment points for him in enemy units? And the short answer, as it was in the War Council, no, because it still counts as an unit and not as attachment. Same counts for Lannisters. I don't know if the last update did change anything with that, if you know about it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. The War Council update, if you actually update, I think it was technically last night. I have not done mine, but if you update to your latest version, enemy attachments, so that's Mance, that's Turncloak, that's Jamie, now count as attachment points that you can use for free. So, so even in a giant list, if you really wanted to, you could pick up your Mance 2-point attachment to help soften things up for giants. And yes, it increases Mag's cost a little bit, but you're getting that Mance 2-point attachment into the enemy army, and that's pretty cool.
On the first iteration, I was wrong. it didn't count in the first place, but now it does. So the attachments, even enemy attachments, counts as attachments, and now you can pick it up and put it in your opponent's infantry. And I bet you will see a lot of infantry, except for Tarks maybe, because they want to use the attachments. So, first of all, thanks a lot for the insight, Mickey. You're always a treasure to have, and it is always a pleasure to have. So let's just round things up before we come to the Greyjoys, as we reach our end of the hour. So, one specifically question for you, Mickey. What are you most excited about, and what do you think? Which path will you go with Free Folks? Maybe even considering the two-list format, will you consider Mag as the second list? Or do you think still Varamir Steer is the combination you would like to go? Just your opinion. It's no solid facts at all because we don't have an established meta. But what do you think? What do you feel like trying out?
I'm going to try out Tormund again. I'm going to try out Rattleshirt again. I don't think I'm going to be playing Harmer Commander at all, because I just think Harmer Attachment is like an absolute goddess. And in this patch of the game, I can't see many free vote lists where I'm not including Harmer Attachment and Harmer's Bannerman. I'd probably move away from Steer Commander, I think. No longer really doing what I want him to do in the game. Varamir's obviously still going to be played. I think Varamir might be pretty good, but when is he not? Yeah, Mag Commander will hit the table. I think the big thing for me, though, and I really mean this, is that I've ran Follows a Bone at a high level back in 2021 with the old Mance list before Season 1 hit. I ran Follows a Bone with Harmer, and that was a combo that I absolutely loved. And Follows a Bone have only received buffs since 2021. And I think that might be a combo I go back to. I'm more tempted to try more Fens and Follows a Bone in general. And I really do think I'm going to be getting Frozen Shore Hunters on the table. There's some stuff I'm really liking the idea with them, and I think you can just be an absolute, putting it nicely, arse with them. And if you can be an arse and make your opponent sad, then that's the kind of thing I enjoy doing.
So making your opponent sad, that is the perfect transition to Kister, because we both have the inside view of Free Folk and what we think about it and what we want to try. So Kister, when you are facing Free Folk after these changes, what do you fear the most seeing on the table when you play your beloved Greyjoy army?
Well, I think there are some pretty scary changes now, or combos that you just showed me, and well, I'm looking forward to trying to beat those. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think the patch they swirled up quite some units that you might want to try out, especially the Frozen Shore Hunters. They are still in my being primed and not painted stack, and yeah, I probably have to paint up some spear throws too, because I really want to try out the 3 spear throw lists. Yeah, and just have some fun with the bears, of course. I mean, they are lovely. And I think we will end with another showcase of a unit of Mickey, and then we will swap to the wonderful. Oh yeah, they're Frozen Shore Hunters, not painted yet. And then we will swap now to the beloved Greyjoys, and I'm super excited about you, Kister, being here with us, because I'm really looking forward to the Greyjoy changes, as I am also an enthusiastic Greyjoy player myself. And I think they also got a pretty good
That
part of the
bonus.
cake when the patch hit. So let's change the
He's
streaming.
showing the
Oh yeah,
mammoth.
Mammoths.
Really good. Nice. Yeah.
And I will give it up to you, Kister, now. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mickey, for being our guest. As usual, it was fun.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.